Welcome to Nestify Craft. Let's start learning together.
Let's talk about screens. They're everywhere, right? Phones, tablets, TVs. They're just completely woven into our daily lives. And if you're a parent, that brings up a really big question. How in the world do we find a healthy balance for our kids in all of this? So let's dive in and really look at what the research has to say. Okay, let's start with the number that is, well, it's pretty staggering. 9 hours. That's how much time the average US teenager spends looking at a screen every single day. And for the younger kids, say 8 to 12-year-olds, it's still a solid 4 to 6 hours. When you think about it, that is a massive chunk of their childhood. It's clear we really need to understand what this means. So you gotta ask, right? If kids are spending that much time on screens, what's the trade-off? What are they not doing? Because, a ton of research shows that when screen time goes from reasonable to excessive, it comes with some pretty serious hidden costs to a child's development. Let's break down what those costs really are. And look, this isn't just a hunch that parents have. We're talking about solid evidence here, built from decades of research. Scientists have literally followed thousands of kids over many, many years, and the patterns are just undeniable. The evidence points to real, measurable impacts across 3 crucial areas: their cognitive growth, their social skills, and their physical health. All right, first up, let's talk about the brain. The cognitive costs. Studies have found direct links between too much screen time and things like delays in language. It can also shrink their attention span, which, affects everything from solving a tricky math problem to just doing well in school. The big issue here is that their brains are getting wired for constant, fast-paced stimulation, not for deep-focused thinking. And then there's the whole social and emotional side of things. Research is showing connections between high screen use and a greater risk for things like anxiety and depression. A big reason why is that screen time often replaces the face-to-face interactions where kids learn essential skills, like empathy. I mean, you can't learn to read a friend's subtle expression from an emoji, can you? And of course, we can't forget the physical toll. That blue light from screens has been proven to suppress melatonin, and it just totally messes with sleep. You combine that with hours and hours of sitting still, and you get a recipe for increased risk of obesity, eye strain, and a general lack of the kind of physical play that growing bodies so desperately need. Now this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. The real danger of screens isn't just that they're bad. It's about what they displace. It's what they push out of a kid's day. See, every hour they spend passively watching something is an hour they're not spending building their brain's ability to plan and solve problems. Every text exchange is a missed chance to learn how to read real-life emotions. This idea of displacement, that's the key to all of this. Okay, I know that was a lot about the risks, and it can feel pretty overwhelming, but this is where we make a turn, because unplugging isn't about punishment or taking something away. It's about opening up space to gain something so much better. And it's a totally fair question. I mean, screens are used for school, for talking to friends, for entertainment. So is it even possible to push back? Is this just the new normal? Well, the answer is no, not if we reframe our whole approach to it. This quote just hits the nail on the head. The key isn't to declare war on screens. It's to make the alternative so fun and engaging that it's an easy choice. The goal is to make life beyond the screen feel like a huge upgrade, full of adventure and real connection. So what are these real-world gains we're talking about? Well, it turns out that the benefits of cutting back on screen time are just as powerful and measurable as all the risks we just covered. So check out this comparison. A massive review of over 180 studies looked at screen time versus green time, time spent out in nature. And the conclusion was, well, it was crystal clear. More screen time is linked to all those negative outcomes, while more time outside consistently boosts mental health, focus, and even school performance. And what's really cool is that these rewards all feed into each other. It creates this amazing positive cycle. It's not just one thing. When kids sleep better because they're not on screens at night, their mood and focus improve. When they play outside more, they have more energy. And when families connect more deeply, that feeling of isolation goes down, which boosts emotional health. See? It all works together. So why does this happen? What's the secret sauce? Well, when the brain isn't being constantly fed a stream of digital content, it has to wake up and do the work itself. It actually gets to be bored for a minute, and boredom is the spark for creativity. It gets to engage in messy, complicated play, and that's what builds critical thinking. It's this environment that nurtures a stronger, more flexible attention span. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but you might be thinking, how do I actually do this? So let's get really practical. Let's talk about the expert-backed steps you can take to create that healthier digital balance for your family, starting right now. So how do we do it? Well, experts like the American Academy of Pediatrics point to 4 key things. First, set clear and consistent limits. Second, create screen-free zones and times, like no phones at the dinner table or in bedrooms. Third, and this one is huge, you have to model the behavior you want to see. Our kids are always watching us. And fourth, protect that precious sleep by making sure everyone unplugs at least an hour before bed. The secret ingredient to making all this work? Consistency. At the end of the day, it really comes down to this. When we talk about unplugging, we're not just talking about avoiding bad stuff. We're talking about making room for the good stuff, for real connection, for adventure, for life. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What memories are waiting for you and your family just beyond the edge of the screen?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Nestify Craft and check the link in the description for more. Goodbye!